What's up, everybody? It's Andy from Nerds on the Run. Welcome back to the channel. I am bringing you an update on Sony's most recent State of Play. Their State of Play that just happened today, actually. I've got a couple of notes here, and we can kind of get into everything they announced so you don't have to watch it yourself. Spoilers, you didn't miss a whole ton. This type of format is something they have been doing a few times now, and they have gotten some of the excitement beats right, some of the pacing right, but you have to have interesting things to announce, and I'm a little bit worried about that for Sony right now. So let's start at the top of the order. I'm gonna go out a little bit out of order later in the show, but bring you all everything that they brought us. All right. Untitled Goose Game is being ported over. That's by House. That came out on Switch not terribly long ago. Kind of an environmental puzzle sort of game. It was nearly a shadow drop. It actually is coming out December 17th, a week from this recording and from the State of Play. I do love indies, so I'm really glad to see that this is being brought to PlayStation. So I'm going to be very careful about being critical of too much here. Honestly, it's not really a fair criticism. If you haven't played the game, you might like, if you like environmental puzzles, very short ones, mind you. It's already on the Switch, and that's where I do a lot of my indie gaming. So it's coming out though about a week from now, and it should be fun. If you're into that environmental puzzle stuff and you don't mind spending on a pretty short experience, we'll look forward to that one. They did announce Spellbreak, which was it's by Proletariat. It's a battle royale, so kind of snore for me at least. I don't. I like the look of it a little bit. Honestly, it initially looked a little bit like some kind of Fortnite DLC. It's kind of got a magic RPG combat twist to it, they're saying. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to work for me. It's not something that I'm super fascinated by. I don't really go in for the Battle Royale stuff. And the look of it is just, like I say, it's awfully similar to Fortnite. It's not a bad look. It's just, if you're going to get into that particular competitive space, and you want to look like that particular game, I don't know. You're setting yourself up for some pretty direct comparisons. So we'll see. Probably the two biggest things of the show, not necessarily for me, but just in scope and scale. Dreams was talked about a little bit more and given a for sure final date. For those who don't know, Dreams has kind of been in a open beta sort of thing for a little while, or I guess rather a closed beta, I guess. But, there have been tons of different games designed on it so far, different experiences. For those of you who don't know, this one's, I don't know how you wouldn't know unless you've been under a rock, but Media Molecule has been working on this thing forever. So it's coming. It's coming February 14th. It's something I know I'm going to play and enjoy quite a lot because basically it is a game that started out as an experience that was looking to be the evolution of Little Big Planet, and it's actually quite a bit more than that now. Yes, it is an evolution of Little Big Planet. It still has the kind of play, create, share sort of mentality to it. It does have the level designing element to it, but it's 1,000 times bigger than that now. It is essentially prior to this State of Play, what they've been saying that Media Molecule, being the they in this case, want folks to be able to independently design and separately publish games that were built in Dreams eventually. So it's essentially a game engine rather than a game for people that don't make games, which is fascinating for sure. If you've always really wanted to make video games, you've always really had a love of video games, and you don't have the programming literacy or whatever, Dreams could be a place for you to make an experience that really matters. But it is definitely not an intuitive system for people that have done previews and things like that for it. It's an incredibly advanced system. There's parts of it that are sculpting based and have some intuitiveness there if you use PlayStation Move interfaces. but essentially, it's if you're looking to have that kind of huge experience, that is coming around the corner. I know I'm going to at least get into it because it does have a campaign still. Again, it was designed as a single standalone game at some point in its gestation, so they are still saying that the campaign is there to sort of inspire some of the things that they did show in the sizzle reel for it. It was almost like its own, console sizzle reel. It was a essentially something that showed futuristic cityscapes. It showed environmental disasters. It showed kind of naturescapes and stuff like that, all with very different art styles. There was a run through a common theme that was kind of like there was a certain sort of mechanicalness to a lot of the animation. I know mechanicalness isn't a word, but mechanical nature to a lot of the animations that was kind of a common run through. That's probably just how the engine when the animations are all put in by creators, there is some common theme you can see there. But it is super pretty looking. It's capable of everything from gritty, dark, futuristic, realism to 8-bit over the overhead top-down type stuff. It looks wild. So we'll see. We'll see what that Dreams brings us. That's probably my most anticipated thing that was shown at this show. But it's also, admittedly, not, as far as games on my radar, not my most anticipated. So I'm being patient because I know that one will have some fun things for me, but I also don't have the time, unfortunately, to expound upon so many creations of mine personally. I'll mostly be playing everybody else's levels out there. So if you're into that kind of stuff, please get out there and make some fun content for everybody to get involved in. Project Resistance has been kind of this online Resident Evil universe stuff they've been teasing in the past, and it looks like the real bread and butter there is going to be Resident Evil 3 Remake, which is actually like the Resident Evil 2 remake that happened earlier this year. It's coming at the beginning of the year again. They're hitting that January sweet spot. Actually, in this case, I'm sorry, that was Resident Evil 2 that came out around that. They're in the next launch window. They're in April 3rd for 2020. And it's the Nemesis storyline by the look of it. They're just calling it Resident Evil 3 in this case. Back in Jill Valentine's shoes. Looks super scary. Looks pretty fun if you liked Resident Evil 2 Remake. Again, that one is, I didn't mention that being on my radar because I don't really, as much as I follow the Resident Evil series out of intrigue, I don't really do a lot of the survival horror stuff myself. So, yeah, look forward to that. If you do like seeing what we're doing here on Nerds on the Run before I get to the back half of the show, make sure you like the video. Let me know what I'm doing correctly. Let me know what I'm not doing correctly. Subscribe so you can see what we have going on, okay? My most anticipated game is what they closed the show with, Ghosts of Tsushima. Sucker Punch is awesome, and they showed an incredibly short cinematic, no gameplay. It was a teaser. It was kind of a little bit different than the teaser trailer mentality in Hollywood. This was a beginning of a teaser that was actually not finished. It said kind of a to be continued, and the rest of the trailer is going to be at the Game Awards. So I guess they really want us to tune into the Game Awards. Okay, I'll look at the trailer then. I'm really psyched about that game. That's probably my most anticipated adventure game coming out, but I also am not super sure about anything about it because they only showed a really little bit of gameplay in the past. So we'll see about that. Superliminal is getting ported to PS4. That was just 2020. For those of you that don't know, Superliminal, it's sort of a perspective puzzle game. If you pick up an object and then move it relativistically, and then let go of it, it'll have changed size just from your sheer change in perspective on the item. So you could pick up a soda can off of a table, look up into the top of the room, and then let it go, and it'll fall back to the ground as if it were that bigger object that was relativistically farther away, right? So kind of a cool concept. It's been on PC for ages, so it's coming to PS4. That's cool. Paper Beast is a PSVR experience that they announced, from the makers of Another World from back in the SNES days. It looks more like a sandbox than a game. And they just said Q1 2020. There's not a specific release date. They do say there's a puzzle mode, environmental puzzle solving mode, but it doesn't look like much of a game. And this has been a common complaint of a lot of VR stuff, a bigger conversation than we're going to have right now. But if they want to overcome the criticisms that are against VR that it doesn't have real games on it, this is not a game that's helping that argument. So, but it looks interesting, it looks different. Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC is coming out January 23rd. So that's cool for people that care about Kingdom Hearts. Everybody get your pitchforks ready. Get ready to tank my like ratio on this video. I don't really care about Kingdom Hearts very much. I like Disney a whole lot. So in my mind, I've always thought, well, if I like Disney as much as I do and I can't attach to the convolution of Kingdom Hearts, maybe I care too much. I'm too close to the problem. I don't know. You all can judge me if you want, but it is something that looks just as sharp as Kingdom Hearts 3. For whatever benefit that will net you. If you were into Kingdom Hearts 3, don't forget to get this DLC because it's coming around just the corner. Okay. Predator Hunting Grounds is coming out April 24th. This game it's kind of a double A experience, so it's something you'll spend a few weekends with probably. I don't think it's going to be a games as service kind of thing like people keep on trying to break into that market. But essentially, it's the same designer that brought us Friday the 13th not too long ago. I believe a year ago, actually a little more than a year ago. Friday the 13th had the asymmetrical gameplay. So does this. I would say this is a little bit more fast-paced. Probably if you didn't like Friday the 13th, you might like this because the human players it's a FPS for them. It's kind of a Destiny-looking sort of speed and perspective for the humans. But then the monsters, the predators, are able to, I should say the one person that's the predator, it's kind of a third-person thing. They have all the tech. They have all the gadgets, right? And it's the humans versus the predator. And the predator's pretty OP, and the humans have to work together smartly to try to beat it. So we'll see. I mean, I think I'll mess around with that for a couple weekends if there's a lull around that time of year, which there probably won't be, given the fact that Cyberpunk and stuff like that's going to be humming around that time. So anyway, check it out if you do like that kind of stuff. They do have some pre-order bonuses available and stuff like that if that stuff entices you. Square and Platinum did kind of show a little bit of this Babylon's Fall game. It was pretty cinematic action. Looked like a bit of a old school God of War mixed with kind of a BioWare type thing. Could be fun. I don't know anything about the gameplay from it because it looked like some of the perspective was in-engine gameplay, but there wasn't a HUD. There wasn't a lot of information besides just a lot of really flashy animations and stuff like that. So I'm not super excited about that one, but I do hope that it is fun for people that are really into Platinum games. If you like Bayonetta and stuff like that, it looks very similar to a lot of what they do. So could be cool. I do think that this state of play overall was kind of lackluster. If I wasn't already sort of excited about Dreams intrinsically, if I wasn't already excited about Ghost of Tsushima intrinsically, I maybe wouldn't have even made this video, if I'm honest, because there isn't a ton in the state of play that was catching my attention. Resident Evil 3 does look super creepy, and I bet it's going to be awesome. I hope it's as successful as Resident Evil 2 Remake. But we'll see. Hopefully Sony really pushes their I know they're ramping up for PS5 and stuff. I'm really hopeful that they push the envelope when it comes to that stuff because they're sort of just they haven't put the PS4 out to pasture. It's such a popular system, but they're also just kind of sitting on their hands right now. So we'll see. I hope next year we really see what the PS5 is about and get some good games going for that. And we always have Last of Us and Cyberpunk and some of the third-party stuff to look forward to. So I've been Andy with Nerds on the Run. I do hope you all stick around, stay involved in the conversation, and let me know what you're liking or what you're not liking about your experience here, all right? I hope you all are having a great day. Bye-bye.